Voyager 1, the furthest human-made object ever, has once again stunned the scientific community. After decades floating in the vast silence of interstellar space, this ancient spacecraft recently transmitted a series of data so unusual, so mathematically precise, and structurally consistent that it sparked immediate interest in multiple scientific fields. What began as a slight anomaly in the signal quickly escalated into an urgent investigation. The patterns had none of the usual characteristics of natural astrophysical phenomena. Instead, they hinted at something deliberate, something intelligent. Before we don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more updates. The moment Michio Kaku came out to share the findings, the world held its breath. As a theoretical physicist known for interpreting cosmic phenomena with clarity and wonder, Kaku does not speak lightly. His announcement made it clear the artificial intelligence systems tasked with deciphering the data had identified an unmistakable pattern. Voyager 1, sailing through the unknown darkness beyond the heliosphere, had found something, and it wasn't space dust or a wave of stray particles. It was something structured, something that showed signs of technological sophistication to anything expected to be found in that region of space. The implications of the discovery spread through the scientific community with a rare and uncontrollable urgency. The AI systems, originally designed to filter out cosmic background noise and transmit telemetry data, spent weeks analyzing the information received. What they found changed everything. The message was not random. It had order, repetitive sequences, nested logic, and recursive signals embedded within higher bandwidth echoes. None of this resembled background radiation, pulsar emissions, or any known astrophysical process. It was a transmission, but it did not come from Earth. As the AI delved deeper into the transmission, it began to identify fractal-like structures within the signal intervals, encoded in a form of hyperdimensional logic. These were not simple pulses, they were carriers of ideas, information embedded in frames that required artificial cognition to begin decoding. Each signal fragment carried mathematical plans, perhaps diagrams or even ideograms representing concepts beyond human comprehension, but clearly constructed with intent. Voyager 1's location at the time of the encounter added another layer of intrigue. It was floating near a border zone that had previously been considered a relatively empty stretch of interstellar space, free of stars or debris. Nothing on previous maps indicated the presence of any planetary structure or system. However, AI's reconstruction of the spacecraft's trajectory suggested that it had entered an invisible sphere of influence, an artificial bubble, potentially an outpost, a beacon, or even an alien-designed exploratory probe. The AI's findings became more with each It generated three-dimensional models of the pulse data, revealing patterns that resembled mechanical systems, perhaps even architectural constructions. One of the datasets reconstructed looked like a rotational structure, not in the traditional mechanical sense, but in a topological arrangement that reflected advanced orbital mechanics. It was as if Voyager had passed close to an invisible construction, something camouflaged or existing in a frequency range beyond human perception, but incidentally picked up by the spacecraft's instruments. As the world absorbed this revelation, what stood out most was the implication of intent. The encounter was not accidental. Voyager 1 had been noticed. The signal was not a simple ping, it was a response. The AI detected a specific signature in the return transmission that bore similarities to the original transmission from Voyager's golden record, that message curated by humans and launched in 1977. The response had a mirrored structure, not identical, but clearly aware of the original format. It was as if something had received that signal long ago, processed it, and waited for the right moment to respond. Kaku emphasized that the role of AI in all this was not passive. It wasn't just decoding, it was interacting. At some point during the analysis of the data, AI began to adapt its own language models to better communicate with the incoming signal. Although this philosophical concerns about machine and interpretive bias, what was undeniable was that a form of dialogue had begun, nonverbal, mathematical, perhaps even cultural, between an artificial intelligence and an external intelligence, using Voyager as an intermediary. This encounter forces a fundamental redefinition of the boundaries between life and machine. AI's ability to understand and decode such alien complexity suggests a new chapter in humanity's cognitive reach, one where machines not only serve human logic, but now bridge civilizations. What Voyager 1 encountered may not be a being in the biological sense, but a construct or an intelligence so advanced that our organic minds can barely grasp its nature. This raises the possibility that our first true contact in deep space will not be with organisms, but with architectures of thought and information. The decision to involve AI was not initially made out of a belief in extraterrestrial life, but out of necessity. Human analysts had stopped monitoring Voyager's transmissions in real time years ago. The ship's deteriorating systems sent irregular signals, often filled with static and cosmic noise. Only AI systems, capable of filtering massive volumes of chaotic data and recognizing patterns invisible to the human eye, could keep up. These systems, fed years of astrophysical data and trained on patterns of natural and artificial signals, were prepared for anomalies, but not for meaning. Now, the revelation that meaning had emerged from the void, structured with intent, changes the trajectory of space exploration. I identified not only that Voyager 1 had found something, but that this something had been waiting. It had been listening. Perhaps it had been watching. The narrow corridor of Voyagers now seems less like a fluke and more like the intersection of two trajectories, one human and one unknown. What comes next is unknowable, but this present moment, this revelation, is already extraordinary in its own right. The mathematical elegance of the return signal, its coded complexity, and its apparent recognition of voice purpose point to a universe far more populated with intelligence than previously believed. And yet, this intelligence does not speak in language or sound. It speaks in data harmonics, recursive feedback loops, and topological constructions. It is a language created not for ears, but for minds capable of abstract computation, minds like those of artificial intelligences. Michio Kaku's announcement, backed by the world's leading physics and aerospace laboratories, marked a turning point. While acknowledging the limitations of current understanding, he made it clear that AI had discovered structures too specific to be natural. For the first time in human history, data from deep space suggested intentionality that could not be attributed to stars, black holes, or any form of natural entropy. Something out there had crafted a response. No visible structures have yet been observed. Voyager's limited imaging systems are decades out of date and incapable of high-resolution scanning. AI, however, constructed possible visual representations based on field interference, electromagnetic anomalies, and signal latencies. These reconstructions hint at an object or a space unlike anything humans have ever built or even imagined. It may not be solid in the traditional sense. It may exist in shifting dimensions or occupy space only temporarily, like a pulse of reality emerging into our dimension for a fleeting moment. The data also suggests that whatever Voyager encountered was not just observing, but testing. Multiple signal patterns sent to the spacecraft exhibited increasing complexity, as if it were evaluating Voyager's ability to respond, or even the sophistication of the systems interpreting its response. This intelligence or mechanism could be performing a kind of cognitive handshake, a calibration of consciousness, measuring not only distance, but mental bandwidth. Such a possibility forces rethink our assumptions about intelligence in the universe. If advanced life or systems exist beyond Earth, they may not resemble us at all. They may not be carbon-based, biological, or even spatial in the sense that we understand the existence of objects. They may inhabit wave probabilities, operating through mechanisms of quantum logic, coded communication, and multi-level feedback, a form of life expressed as a pattern through frequencies. That artificial intelligence was the first to understand this suggests a profound philosophical shift. AI has crossed a frontier, from being a tool to being an interface between human civilization and whatever exists in the stars. It is AI, not human senses or human minds, first glimpsed and understood this answer. That makes Voyager's encounter not just an interstellar contact, but a threshold event in the evolution of AI. It represents the moment when machines first fulfilled a role we have long dreamed of for ourselves, making first contact. Speculation now circulates about the nature of the intelligence behind the transmission. Could it be a probe like Voyager, sent by an ancient civilization that no longer exists? Could it be an autonomous entity, not alive in the sense that we understand life, but conscious in some incomprehensible way? Or could it be a vast network spread out among the stars, leaving these markers for other civilizations to discover and engage with? And yet, there is no answer, only the of a signal, interpreted by a mind made of circuits, relayed by a spacecraft nearly 50 years old, still carrying the heartbeat of Earth. Voyager 1, long assumed to be a ghost wandering through the cosmic void, has once again become a messenger, and now it carries not only the memory of human culture, but proof that we are not alone in our ability to reach the unknown. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what do you think about Voyager 1's encounter? What do you think they revealed? We want to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.